Hello and welcome to another gardening week here in Lincolnshire. I am starting with some transplanting out. I've got a lot of pricking out, transplanting on to do. So that's what I'm going to start with this week. It is a beautiful day here today. I've got my special hat on. If I sit down, I'm hoping that, yes, great, it's following me. I've got this special little gimbal thing that follows me, which is pretty amazing actually. Okay, the first thing I want to actually transplant on are my leeks. Now these leeks are going to be my summer leeks. They're a very fast growing variety. They're called Hilari, and they're here on this side of the tray here, and on the other side I've got some onions. So I had an ingenious idea. Because I don't want to put them out now into my raised beds or over on the allotment, because in the past I used to just put them out, I used to just interplant them into things, and then I had a problem because when I used to then pull other stuff out and then replant, I was disturbing the leeks all the time. So I need really to have these leeks sitting in some pots, or in this case my DIY root trainers, until about April time, and then I can put them out into situ and then they'll grow on nicely and we will have leeks in the summer. So I have devised, I don't have root trainers, any root trainers at all actually. I've never actually purchased any. So I have been collecting the toilet rolls here. I don't normally do toilet rolls, but I have been collecting them, and I've got 10, I've got 10 so far. And I'm just going to pop these leeks out of the trays here, and let's just get this out. I watered them this morning, so they might be a little bit soggy. Take them out like that. They are a bit soggy, but doesn't matter. And I'm going to put them into these DIY root trainers because I think this is going to work actually. So when I do toilet rolls, I put them in these cells like so, and there we are, that's your new home. And then I fill up around the cell with compost. So, you know, that's at least what they'll do is they'll grow. As the toilet roll starts to decompose, then the roots can actually go out into the cell and then I can pop them out. So that should be fine. I think it should work quite well. I've never done this before with leeks, but it's always worth giving something a try, especially when you don't have the old root trainers. Let's try and get this one out. Yeah, they're coming out. My finger's stuck now. There we are. In you go to your new home. So I will do these, and then as I collect, I think I've got some more toilet rolls inside. As I collect them, I'll do the lot of them. And also I have multi-sown here. So someone said to me the other day that they prick everything out when they actually sow stuff. But multi-sowing is really easy as long as you don't put too many in, because the whole idea with multi-sowing is the more you sow, the longer they take to develop, which makes sense. So in here I've got 3 to 4 leeks per cell, and that will be fine for this time of year. If I was in the winter, I'd cut my multi-sowing down to, for instance, if I'm going to sow radish, I will cut them down to 2 radish or 3 radish per cell. As it gets warmer, we get better light, the growing season is much faster, then I start upping my multi-sowing. So the radish now, when I sow radish, I'm sowing 4, 5, 6 radish per cell because they've got time to grow faster. Of course, if you want prize-winning leeks or prize-winning onions, then you need to just have one, because all the energy has to go into that particular leek or onion. So let me just get on with this and I'll be back with you in a minute. Another thing for Roots Day is I'm keeping on top of planting my potatoes. So I have got my first lot of potatoes I am planting out into my big pots. That's how they are looking in their smaller pots. And now I change pot size. So I'm going down to 1 litre pots because things are growing really quickly. These little diddy potatoes that look really cute, these are swift. So I just pop them in the pot like this, take off a few of these smaller chits that I'm not really interested in. I just want big ones. Again, that's a nice big one on top there. Yep, and that one. And then I just fill this up with compost to the top. They're then going to look like this. They go in the greenhouse, they then look like this, and then they go into the big pots. And as you can see in the big pots, they're already starting to break ground, which is really exciting. I'm very happy about that. And it won't be long before I will be having my potatoes coming through. So I've mentioned before about potatoes. The reason why I grow them like this is because from the onset, I want the potato to be growing really fast. And potatoes have a lifespan. So a potato like this, Swift, has got about 75 to 80 days lifespan, and then it starts to die off the hulls, and then the potatoes are ready. And so I want them to go into the soil. As soon as they hit the compost, they start growing. This here is not really growing because there are no roots coming out. This is just what they call chitting. And as soon as they hit the compost, I need them to start growing very, very fast, because if they have consistent growth throughout their season and they don't just sit for a while and just sit in cold soil, then you are going to get a better yield and you're going to get bigger potatoes. And that is why I do my potatoes like this. If I used to put them just in big bags or big sacks, even in the greenhouse. The trouble was that they took quite a while to get going. So I would say the first 3 weeks or so, they're sitting in this kind of cold compost and they're waiting to get going. I'm already losing time because they are growing, but they're not growing very fast. So of course, when things start to get warmer and the light starts to get better, they then put on this growth span on top of the hulls, but you find that you don't get a great yield underneath. That is what I have learnt over the years. So these are going to go in the greenhouse, and yeah, the cycle just keeps continuing. And I do really think it's worth doing it this way, because you get, at the end, you'll see the results that I get at the end are so much better. There you go. So I just thought I'd show you, while we're talking about potatoes, is where I'm chitting my potatoes. So these are the Swift. There's not a huge amount of those left. They're doing very nice. These are the Charlotte as well. Not a huge amount left on here. Let me look at you, wrong way up. And then I've got Jazzy here as well. Got quite a few of those left. My kind of main crop ones, which are second earlies, because I grow second earlies, I haven't even really taken out of the netting bags yet. It's not really worth it. So they're still in bags, and yep, they're the potatoes I've got to do. So on Fruits Day on the moon phase calendar, I've just been looking at my tomatoes underneath my grow lights in my grow tents. I'm starting to get a little bit short on space in the grow tents, so I kind of would like to move these tomatoes out. And they are looking very, very nice, actually. So I am going to experiment. I've got 8 of these. These are a little well, they're kind of like a bush variety, a bush cherry variety, and I am going to put these in hanging baskets to start off with. And if I don't have enough hanging baskets, then I will put them into pots as well. And I've kept 8 because 8 came up and they look really good, but I was only wanting 6. But you know, you can never have too many tomatoes, in my opinion. I'm going to take them out of these pots. I'm assuming that the root structure is not going to be huge on this, but I don't really mind because tomatoes repot really well. So, you know, it's very difficult to kill a tomato. So I'm going to put them in these larger pots. And isn't it interesting, when you always go looking for larger pots, you can never find anything that is the same size. I'm just going to put an indentation. So I've got 2 pots that are kind of bigger. This is more or less a kind of, well, it's nearly a 1 litre pot, and this is nearly a 2 litre pot. And I'm just going to make an indentation in there and then put these in. So wish me luck with what comes out of here. I hope that it's not in too bad a state. Oh. Right, that poses a little bit of a problem. I'm going to have to do this different. So I've taken half the compost out of this pot because the root structure is better than I thought. Okay, that tells me I think I might go and get the other 4 as well and do them. But there's no rush because these 4 here have taken up enough room. Well, they've given me enough room now to put what I needed to into my grow tents. With the lights. So I am now going to put these in my dining room along with where I'm putting my peppers and my chilies as well. That was really good. Tomatoes, don't you love them? They do grow really, really fast. There. So that now can stay in this pot until I need to put it into its final position. I'm not going to start faffing around with another size pot upwards. And that should be going out into the greenhouse end of April. And with all these 8 plants, that'll give us quite a few cherry tomatoes to be eating for a few months. So I'm quite happy about that. I will continue doing that. Excellent. And so while I'm at it on Fruits Day, I am very slowly going through my peppers and my chilies because I am now potting those on from these 6-cell trays here into 1 litre pots. And I do a few each time and get through them because I have quite a few to do. And I do it exactly the same way as I would with the tomato. I kind of get these out of here very, very carefully because I want as much root ball as possible. Come on. There we are. I've got it and I'm not letting go of it. So this variety is Padron. I don't know whether you've ever grown Padron before. It is a chili and it is absolutely fabulous. They're actually becoming more readily available in supermarkets, I notice now, because they have really caught on about how wonderful they are, in particular when you griddle them or fry them, or even better, put them on the barbecue. Okay, so how far do we bury it? When I do my first potting on from my little modules into these 6-cell modules, I bury them quite deep. Then when I go to do them in the 1 litre pots, I bury them quite deep again, but I'm very, very careful with how much water I then give them. Because if you give them too much water, they may get stem rot. So I'm watching them all the time. I start to water a little bit from underneath, but if I water from above, I'm very careful. I'm very sparing how much water I give. If you don't want to chance it, then just bury them as deep as they are here in these trays, exactly on where the compost is or the soil level is. It was interesting because I was looking the other day at a Facebook group that I'm on. I think it must be an allotment one or something. And someone was talking about their leggy cucumbers. And they said, what do I do with my leggy cucumbers? Do I bury them deep? Well, it all kind of kicked off because a lot of people, one person said, well, quite a few people said no, you don't bury them deep because cucumbers don't like being buried deep. And then someone else came into the mix and said, well, I bury them deep all the time and I don't have a problem with it. Well, then it kicked off. So, okay, I can only go on my experience. And when I come to do my cucumbers, I will show you what I do. But when I have got my cucumbers at the moment are really, really, really leggy. And I bury them deep. So I bury them up to the first lot of leaves. I always have, I always will. I never have a problem with it. But again, I treat them like I treat these peppers and these chilies. I am really careful about watering. So when I first pot them, and like these ones now, so these are going to go again where my tomatoes are going. They're going to go into the dining room, and I'm not going to water them at all. I need them just to settle into this pot. They've got enough water in these cells at the bottom where the roots are. They're going to settle into these pots and stay in there, and just, you know, I'll keep an eye on them, nice tickety-boo. And then as I see them, as soon as they're happy, I will then start watering. I do exactly the same with my cucumbers. So I bury them deep into dry compost. The compost is never wet, and I just wait and watch. And I make sure that the module that they're coming from and the roots that they're being transplanted into are wet already. And I just wait. And then I start to water, and they're fine. I don't have, like I said, I don't have any problems, never had any problems with cucumbers, with burying them deep. So that's my take on it, and I'm sure that if I was on the Facebook page, it'd all kick off. But that's the beauty of social media here, isn't it? Everyone has an opinion. Okay, so let's continue doing these, and then onwards and upwards. I just wanted to show you these containerized trays and why I really like them. Apparently, I was just looking online, they do kind of root trainers as well. And a root trainer, the reason why it's called a root trainer is because, I'm going to try and come in really close here so that you can see. On these container-wise containers, there are these ridges in here, in the actual cell. And a root trainer has these ridges in the cells, and what it does is it stops the plant twirling, it's the roots plant, the plant's roots twirling around. It sends the roots down into the bottom of the tray, which has got these big holes. When the roots hit the air, they prune, what they call it root prune, so that they stop growing. And I just wanted to show you, I've got these little, I want to see whether this is a good example. Yes, this is a good example. I've got these little red kales in here, and as you can see on here, the roots are actually being sent down, and then when they get to the bottom, they stop growing. So instead of going around and around and around in a pot or in other cells, they get sent down. And all of the container-wise containers has this, what's it called, a mechanism? I don't think it's a mechanism, but yeah. And so I just wanted to show you that, and I think I might actually get myself some root trainers from Containerwise as well, because they have the same system. I mean, okay, if my toilet roll system works, then I'm really happy. But I know the toilet roll system, the roots are going to go round and round in circles. But for the moment, it's fine. So yeah, that's the Containerwise things. They are fantastic. The other ones that I like are the Charles Dowding ones. They're very good too. They don't have this ridge thing though. So I'm kind of going on to these a little bit more at the moment. I've just uncovered my broad beans here. I had to put a netting cover over them because the pigeons were snapping off the tops and eating the tops. I mean, I understand that some people really like the tops of broad beans to eat, but the pigeons were starting to get too fussy in what they like as their delicacy. So I put the netting over the top, and I just wanted to have a look at them today, and actually they're now starting to sprout again, which is fantastic. I've lost a few here, but whilst when I put the netting on, I actually just got another packet of broad beans and stuck them all in the ground, and I've just been scrabbling around to see what's going on, and they'll be fine. They'll come up a little bit later, and actually they'll probably catch up with what I've got now here. The other issue I've had this year with the broad beans, with overwintering them, is slugs and snails. It has been such a bad year, and I keep saying this, for slugs and snails. And it is, well, not so much snails, but the slugs. It's those really, really little ones that come out and eat everything. So they're very wholey. Like I said, the tips of them have been taken off. But the good thing about broad beans is when you plant a bean, you usually get more than one stalk coming up. So I'm hoping that these new beans that I've put in, and actually I'm going to show you this one because the whole top of it is gone, but there are 2 sprouts coming from below. So thank goodness, because I didn't have any spares, and I normally have spares. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm back in the greenhouse here on the allotment, and everything is doing really well, except for one thing. My Komatsuma, I think I've got flea beetle, which is really, really early for flea beetle. And it started with one plant, and all the other plants are starting to get these tiny little holes. I've had a really, really good look, and it's not slugs. It's definitely not slugs. And I did see a little black thing, which I think was the flea beetle. So now I can't do anything about it. If any of you have got any idea of what I can do to get rid of flea beetle, then please put a comment below, because I've never been able to get rid of it. That's why I net everything, but I'm not going to net stuff here in the greenhouse as well. At home, though, in my veggie pod, I don't seem to have a problem with flea beetle yet. So that's a bit of a pity. I'm hoping that I will get some Komatsuna, which will, which will be quite good. And they are starting to creep up towards the door. The ones towards the door look better, but these ones don't look great. Oh dear. But everything else is taken very nice. The brassicas look really good. The beetroot's all taken, which is really good as well. And yeah, it's all great. So I hope you've had a good week with your gardening. I'm Susie B from SusyBLiving, and this has been my gardening week. And the weather is quite mild here in Lincolnshire, so, you know, gets you out and about if you dodge the rain. I will see you next time, and if you want to follow my schedule, my moon gardening schedule, please join me on a Wednesday evening or a Sunday evening. I bring it out twice a week, and I give you my schedule of what I'm sowing, growing, what I'm transplanting, what I am weeding, all my maintenance, and my feeding and watering schedule as well. So subscribe, that's always a bonus, and put on your notifications, because then whenever I upload a video, you'll be able to be notified by it as well. And give us a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Bye.